My name is Barbara Miller. I am one of the counselors at the high school. I kind of have an odd role now. I've taken on testing from all of the other counselors, so they have the actual alphabet. But I am the person that makes all the changes to the course selection booklet based on what I'm told by everybody who has an input on the course selection booklet. So since that has recently just been finished, I was probably the best person to stand up and be able to give all the information to know what changes have occurred. And then the counselors, which they know all this information too, will be giving it all out to the students as well. I do want to introduce, let's see, I don't know where they are. Well, I guess they're outside. We have Miss Snyder, Miss Wilson, Mr. Jesus, Miss Gibson, and Mr. Davenport are all counselors who have part of the alphabet. Our administration is here. We have Miss Graham, who is an assistant principal, Miss Gatewood, I know she's here. Mr. Kaler will be here. Mr. Hawkins is not here. He is in Washington with student council right now, so he's on a good trip. We do have Miss Tarina Woodruff. She is our director of counseling. So glad y'all were able to come out here. There's a lot of information, and it's not the most exciting information, but it is beneficial for you to kind of get an idea. And I will go ahead and warn you, different grade levels have different requirements right now. So on your sheet, on the handout that we gave, I have listed all the dates that we will be dealing with. Current 9th grade, current 10th grade, current 11th grade, and when we will be speaking with them, taking up their forms, in what class we're taking up their forms. You are more than welcome to come those days that we are there if you want to sit in on the presentation again because it was so great. Or if you just have more questions after you hear it tonight, or you can always email the counselor of your student, okay? We also put on there, we do have our website. The Counseling Center has a website. We want everyone to get online, look, see what's out there, because we try to put all kinds of information out there for you. Counseling Center also has a Google Classroom. I have put the code on that sheet, on the little salmon sheet that you picked up as well. That also has a lot of information. We try very hard to get it out there to everybody in all different formats. Oops, am I working? Okay. We also have at central office, if you have a student who receives special education services, we have Miss Julie Ward and Miss Jennifer Jensen who work in that department. We have our gifted and talented people, Mr. Aaron Randolph, he is at the district office at CAO, and we have Miss Melissa Elliott on our campus that works with the GT students, GT, AP scholars, that kind of stuff. Our course selection booklet, a year ago we went green. We stopped killing all the trees by printing the books. I've printed my copy because I'm old and I need something to hold in my hand. This is the booklet that we will be going over. This is the booklet that we have put online. It is already there for you to look at. I also noticed if you have looked at the Cabot Public Schools app, we are right there beside Dr. Thurman's picture. You can click on the Counseling Center. All this information that we're going over is on the app as well. Okay. All right, so here we go. We kind of start at the front of the book and go back on the things that we feel are important. First thing up, we at Cabot have the opportunity to offer lots and lots and lots of classes. That's a great thing, but there are those times that we offer courses and not a lot of students are interested in them, so we are not able to offer that class. If that happens, we will move on to alternate classes. So typically our policy is if we don't have at least a class of 15 or more, that course is not offered. All right, so kind of keep that in mind. Schedule changes. Mr. Hawkins will build the master schedule based on the courses that you select between now and the end of March. He will build classes, we'll make sections. So when we come back in the fall and you decide, oh no, I don't want to take this class, I want to take this one, we may or may not be able to make that change. So we urge you to look at these choices that you're making and choose wisely. Choose what you want to do, not what your friend wants to do. The other thing, if your student is interested in college athletics, we do encourage you to go ahead and get signed up for the NCAA, for the sports, to play sports in college. We have on here that they want you to do it as a junior. I think I've read that they don't mind if you go ahead and do it as a sophomore second semester. Okay, so if sports in college is what you're interested in, I would go ahead and start looking at those places. All right, now the fun part. Graduation requirements, SMART Core versus Core. And this is a state thing, not a Cabot High School thing. The one thing I want to stress to you, no matter what one you choose, it's the same number of courses, same number of credits, just different levels of the course in math and science only. Okay? All right, here are the graduation requirements for SMART Core. Everybody is in high school. You must have 4 credits of math: algebra, geometry, algebra 2, and 1 math higher than algebra 2. This is SMART Core, remember. Science, you have biology, which everyone takes in 10th grade. You have a physical science, which most students get in 9th grade. And then they can choose between chemistry or physics. Social studies, there is no choice. You take civics and economics, American history, and world history. There's no choice, no difference between the two. Everyone must have a semester of PE, health, fine arts, and OC. Then we have 6.5 elective credits or career focus credits, whichever one you would like to think about. Those are the ones that the kids like. They choose whatever their interest is, to give us a total of 22.5 credits to graduate. This is SMART Core, and that white for the math and the science is all that's different between this slide, and that slide. Okay? For Core, your math classes can be the block in 9th grade, Algebra A and B, you get 2 full credits. You would take geometry in 10th grade and maybe bridge to Algebra 2 as an 11th grader, and you have your 4 math credits, but they're not above Algebra 2. There's different ways, but keep in mind, it's the above Algebra 2 that's the SMART Core. On this one, if you'll notice in the red box, that if your student chooses to sign up for the Bridge to Algebra 2 class, you would have to sign a SMART Core waiver. Okay, and that's also in the book, and we'll get to that in a second. For science, you still must have biology, you must have a physical science, which like I said, most students get in the 9th grade, and then you can choose any other science you want. That could be botany, zoology, it could be environmental science, it could be AP biology, AP environmental science, anatomy, physiology. Those are all core science classes. Okay, because it's the chemistry, physics that you have to have for SMART Core. Okay, here we go. This is a copy of the SMART Core waiver. This is in the course selection booklet. We do have copies of this. Typically, you won't make this decision until after 10th grade. Because even if you take the double block in 9th grade, you can still go above and beyond the Algebra 2 requirement for SMART Core. But this is just something for you to keep in mind. We are required by the state to have this on file if your student is a core graduate. Now, not only do we have the classes that are required, we have different things that are required for different graduating classes. For example, in 2018, the graduating class had to have a digital credit. They had to take a class that was offered online. As far as Cabot schools, if you take the normal health class, like in 9th grade or really in 10th or 11th, 12th grade, if you take the normal health class, you will get that digital requirement. But that's required, that has been required for all grade levels since 2018. In 2019, that graduating class, they've added another one where they must have the citizenship exam. I don't know if you've got a junior and they've taken the citizenship exam, but they must take it and score a 60%, it gets 60 out of 100 questions correct, and show that they have successfully completed that to graduate. And then they have added for the classes of 2021 and above, which is our current 10th graders, right? They have to have a financial literacy class or standards that have to be met, okay? So, the digital class, we have lots of offerings. We have students who take digital English, digital American history, world history, and it is set up that they receive the whole thing online. They may not have to be at school during that period. If it's in the morning, they wouldn't have to come for first period if their class is the digital class. But we have different offerings other than the health class, but keep in mind that every student, if they take health through Cabot schools, they will get the digital class. The citizenship exam, 60 out of 100 questions, you have to take it. That was a state. And then the financial literacy, that's a little thing that has kind of caused a little concern. Students are required to take economics to graduate. The financial literacy requirement is met when the student takes economics as long as they take it in grades 10, 11, or 12. Now we have 9th graders who are taking economics pre-AP right now, and we had them that took it last year, and currently we have a waiver from the state. We have embedded those financial literacy standards into our American history classes, and students are meeting that financial literacy requirement in the American history class. That waiver was for 1 year. We think next year we will put out another waiver. It will more than likely only be for the AP US history class, but we are also talking to our legislators in the session right now to see if maybe they will change that requirement for grades 10, 11, and 12 to make it 9, 10, 11, and 12. But again, that's a state thing, not a Cabot High School thing. So these are all requirements that have come into play as well, going along with the classes that you take. All right, and then to make it a little more confusing, we add Cabot school district's requirements for honor graduates. Currently, if you have a student who is a graduate, or who's going to graduate in 2020, these are what we have. We have an honor graduate and a high honor graduate. 3.5 GPA to a 4-point is an honor graduate. Above a 4-point is a high honor graduate. Students must take SMART Core curriculum plus the higher level junior and senior English, advanced or higher, and 2 years of the same foreign language. There's still 22 and a half credits required. No more classes are required to be an honor graduate, but you only have 4.5 elective classes because we tell you to take 2 years of a foreign language. This is current juniors. I'm trying to get my 2020 current juniors. All right. Then Cabot implemented a new graduation honor graduate policy last year for current 10th graders and everybody coming after. There are now 3 levels of honor graduate. You have honor graduate, high honor graduate, and distinguished high honors. We've written there the GPAs that are required for each one. And the one thing that I do want you to kind of keep in mind, the only way to get above a 4-point on a GPA is to take an AP class and make an A in it. Because an AP class is the only weighted classes that we have that are worth 5 points instead of 4. All right? So you can still be an honor graduate with no AP classes. You can still be a high honor graduate, but there's a catch on this one. Well, let me finish this at the bottom. They also have implemented you cannot have any D's or F's on your transcript. If you choose to retake a course, you must retake the exact course that you messed up on before, right? Other than pre-AP Algebra 1, because we're not going to send you back to junior high to take pre-AP Algebra 1, all right? On the honors, it's basically the same thing that we have now, other than the GPA is a 3.5 to a 3.75. SMART core curriculum. You must take advanced level or higher in English your junior and senior year. You must have 2 years of the same foreign language. Then we have high honors, 3.76 to 4.0 for a GPA. You still have to have the SMART core curriculum. You still must have the advanced level or higher in junior and senior English. You still must have the 2 years of the same foreign language, but then you must take 1 additional AP or concurrent class above and beyond the English requirement. Okay? And we're going to talk about concurrent. That's college classes. It's what concurrent classes are. Then the distinguished high honors, it's the same thing as the one before, except this time you have to have higher than a 4-point. So that's when I'm saying you must take at least 1 AP class and make an A in it for that to even be possible. The English requirement is the same. The foreign language requirement is the same. But this time you have to take 2 additional AP or concurrent classes above and beyond the English requirement. Questions on that? And that may take a little sinking in, and you might have questions later. But that's the difference. And so our seniors next year, our current juniors, they have the same honor graduate requirements as we've always had, but 10th grade on down have the new ones. We do allow students to drop classes. You do actually have the first 10 days of each semester to change your schedule if it's an option. If we're not full, you know, if your schedule will work, that kind of thing. After 22 days, if you are adamant that you're dropping a class, you'll have to take an F for the semester. Not a 9 weeks, a semester, it would be on your transcript. So we strongly encourage students to make that final decision within the first 10 days of taking that class, or stay in it until the semester is complete and make the grade, because any grade is better than an F, right? If possible. This is what your student will be bringing home next week. I think we do sophomores on Monday. We do 9th graders on Tuesday, and we do juniors on Wednesday to give them this same wonderful, riveting information. We will hand them this sheet right here, except yours might not say 11th grade at the top. It may say 9, or it may say 10, 11, or 12, okay? But this is the sheet that is very important to your student's counselor. This sheet is very important for you to have every blank filled in, This is what we will look for. This sheet right here overrides anything that might go into HACC that you enter, that your students go in and choose classes, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is the sheet that will override and trump everything. All right, English, and we're going to fly through these. There are many different levels of English. You and your student's English teacher know your student best. I would strongly encourage that you speak with their English teacher to make sure they're going into the right class. Too hard, too easy, whatever way, but just have that communication with the English teacher. We have language arts electives that students can choose. They are still just classified as electives for us, but the state calls them language arts electives. We have a few, and they're kind of in the front of the book instead of at the back where most of our electives are. So we don't want you to forget about these. Math, just like English. We have levels of math, but math is a little different because it goes consecutively. When you take Algebra 1, your next course is geometry. Your next course would then be bridge to Algebra 2 or Algebra 2, and so on. All right? So be sure when you're looking at math, talk to your math teacher, but also be sure in the course selection book that you look to see which one is the next step. Science. We have all kinds of science classes, but again, remember, the state requires one must be biology, that typically is in 10th grade. 9th graders take physical science, and then you have choices to make. And they're all listed in the course selection booklet. Something's beeping. Is it just me? Okay. Social studies, we put on here required social studies because the state doesn't give you an option. You must take a semester of civics, a semester of economics, a full year of American history, a full year of world history. There are different levels that you can take, but those are the classes you have to have. We do have other elective social studies. We offer AP US Government, AP European History, Psychology, Sociology. Those are all in our social studies section, but they are not required. They will count as electives if your student chooses to take those. Foreign languages, we have 3. Spanish, French, German. We strongly encourage that if your student really likes the language that they have chosen, that if they go into year 2 and they really want to continue on to year 3 and or 4, that they choose the pre-AP route. Don't let the pre-AP scare you off. Okay. We are, once again, going to offer concurrent Spanish 1 and 2 next year. And when we talk about the concurrent classes, we'll get that. That will get them a college credit if they take those classes. Fine arts, we have a lot. And again, remember that a semester of a fine arts is required for graduation. And I know there are lots of students that is not what they like. They don't like choir, they don't like band, they don't like theater, they don't like stagecraft, but they must take 1 semester of a fine art. My suggestion would be music appreciation. It's a semester class, they're in it, they're out. We do have all kinds of art classes, and again, the band, choir, theater, stagecraft, AP art history, so there's lots of things you can choose from. Health and PE, they are required. Most students will get the health class in 9th grade. If they don't, we do offer it at the high school. Let's see, PE. PE can only count from 9th grade up. Some students take it in 9th grade, some students do not. You can only have a maximum of 1 credit of PE. We do have students who love PE, but they can't get 4 credits of PE. They can only have a maximum of 1. We have students who are in athletics or sports. If they take a sport in 10th, 11th, or 12th grade and they are wanting to get their PE half credit, their off season of sport will count, and we call that personal fitness for life. And that's where they can get their PE half credit and never really actually take a PE class. The one thing I will say with ROTC, this came into play several years ago. a student who completes 1 full year of ROTC can earn the ROTC credit as well as a half credit of health and a half credit of PE. And that's great. Keep in mind though, most of our students receive their digital course when they take health, and the ROTC health half credit is not a digital class. So kind of keep that in mind. Miscellaneous electives. We have put service learning and teacher's aides together. Typically, teacher aide does not receive a credit, but if a student completes all the required paperwork, which is logging hours for service learning, if they help a teacher, after 75 hours, they can earn 1 full credit of an elective. What we do now at the high school is any student who wants to do that, we just put them as a teacher's aide, and as they complete the coursework for service learning, we add that to their transcript for the credit. Museum, we do have a museum that's on campus that we have students who sign up specifically for the museum service learning credit. Mr. Polston is the teacher who does that. The kicker to that one is it is always only first period. It's not any other period during the day. And he always is looking for people to come take his class. We also have GT Seminar 1 and GT Seminar 2. The new thing that they have added for the GT Seminar 1, last year students had to take at least 2 pre-AP classes or more to be in GT1. They have now made that requirement. You must take pre-AP English and the pre-AP Math, pre-AP AP, whatever it is. But the English and Math must be the advanced level to be in GT1. GT Seminar 2 is teacher approval. Test prep and strategies, we started this last year and it has continued. We basically have a semester for students to study up on the ACT. Now, the drawback to this is it's not a credit, but that's okay because most of the time teacher's aide isn't a credit either. So for a semester, they can sign up for this class, do practice ACTs in the classroom. We have a curriculum that we use that's great, but students typically will raise their ACT scores when they take this class. Concurrent classes. We're kind of excited about this year. We've had English and Math this year for a while. Well, next year, still going through ASU-BB, we are now going to offer Freshman English 1 and 2, College Algebra, Applied Statistics, Spanish, Concurrent Spanish 1 and 2, and Principles of Biology. Now, this allows students, most of them you can only take it as a senior, but this allows students to take these college courses at our campus and take a transcript to a college. ASU-BB will transfer their transcript to another college, or they can just go to BB. They do have to have a 2.5 GPA or higher, and then you'll notice that they do have to have ACT requirements. For English, they must have at least a 19 in English and reading. For Spanish 1 and 2, they have to have the 19 in reading. College Algebra, they have to have the 19 in reading and math. Of course, Applied Statistics, they have to have College Algebra before they can take that, so those requirements are still the same. Principles of Biology, they have to have a 19 in the reading. So, if you have a student who's going to be a junior and they want to take that test prep class to get a bump on it, so then as a senior they can sign up for the concurrent classes because that's what they're going to be studying for, is to take the ACT. So we do have more classes that we are offering next year. And just some information about this, students each semester, they receive 1 full credit. They don't receive a half credit like our classes do. They will receive 1 full credit for each semester they take of these classes. We do go out of ASU-BB. That typically for one class, one semester, it's $150. that is subject to change, we are at ASUBB's mercy on that one, okay? But it is approximately half the cost of what it would take for you to take that class on their campus. So it's still a savings for students. We have representatives from ASUBB. They come to our school and do all the registration, so you don't have to go to BB if you can be there that day. And then, of course, college textbooks are the student's responsibility, just like all college classes. But this is a great opportunity, a great program, and it is growing, so we are excited about that. We do have non-credit activities and athletics, cheerleading, dance team, sports. Again, they do not receive a credit unless the student signs up for the off-campus or the off-season personal fitness for life class that kind of goes with them. And then we have our career technical. The book that we have, the majority of this is in the back, and it's our career tech classes that we offer. We have agri, we have broadcasting. They're all listed. Automotive, ROTC, business, computer science, East, engineering. I mean, we are so lucky for the fact that we can offer all these different classes. From pages, what does it say, 28 to 37, it tells you about every class we offer, what grade level can take it, if it's offered in the fall or the spring, if it's a year class, a semester class. It tells you everything you want to know about it. And then on pages 39 through 41, with these particular classes, we have pathways that you can be a completer in when you graduate. And I don't know how many of you have attended a graduation ceremony, but you may see students who have several cords around their neck because they may be a completer in several of our career tech pathways. On pages 39 through 31, this is all laid out on what classes you have to have for each one to be a completer. Within these career tech classes, there are certifications that students can earn. This year we had a CNA class, a Certified Nursing Assistant class, that those students who complete that, they can go out and get a job because they have earned that certification. Okay, so look through that book. There's a lot of things that we at Cabot have that we can offer that other places may not have the opportunity to do this. Oh, and here's that most important sheet again. The most important thing that your student's going to bring home next week is this piece of paper, and it'll be a color, because every class has a color. We want all blanks filled in. We for sure need alternate choices. If your student comes and says, after all those classes that we talked about, and your student says, there's not anything else I want to take, you're saying, please, Miss Counselor or Mr. Counselor, pick my classes, okay? Because we will fill something in and we want it to be what they're willing to try. And I would encourage your student to kind of broaden their horizons a little bit. Try some different things to see if they may be interested in it. We do want you to sign, you and the student to sign the form, but I will say, if we're there that day to take up the form and the student doesn't have your signature, they're going to sign it and we're going to take the form. We must get that entered. You'll want us to get that entered so we have the right number of classes for the students and that they've signed up for. And again, remember, this form will override anything that's in HAC. HAC, I think, it's for sure going to be open tomorrow, that students can go in and start choosing course requests for next year. They do not have to do this because this form's going to override everything. But if they want to go through and pick their classes, they can. It will be, it's under their HAC account. Yes? Not the parents' HAC account. It's the student's HAC account, so be sure you're going in that way. Anything more y'all want on this sheet? Because I know this is an important sheet.
They may be required to take other classes in order to go to college for remediation classes.
Okay. Ms. Snyder was saying under the core requirements, one thing to keep in mind, if your student signs the SMART core waiver, if they plan on going to college and they have not taken the class above Algebra 2, colleges may require you to take remedial classes before you can take the college level classes. And what that means is that they will charge you as much money for that remedial class as they would for the normal class, but it does not count for college credit. So kind of keep that in mind when you're looking at SMART core versus core. Okay. Keep in mind that we are going to be visiting with about 2,300 students between now and the end of February, 1st of March. We like to meet with the students individually because we want to have that one-on-one conversation with them. You are more than welcome to come on the days that we're talking to your student. You are more than welcome to send an email to the counselors for us to, if you have questions, we want you to be certain about things for your student as well as your student to be certain about things. Check an email. Make sure you have an email in our eSchool or hack for you. We do send out, Ms. Gibson is wonderful with this. She sends out the Counselor's Corner once a week, approximately once a week, and it has all kinds of information. And if we have your email address, you can get that. But if there's no email address in our school system, then we don't know how to get that to you. Oh, yep, we said that. Here are the counselors' names and the extensions, but it's also on your yellow sheet, or not yellow, salmon colored sheet. That information is on there as well.